All right, shalom, family. Um, I feel compelled to do this little, very short video because everybody's going crazy right now about voting, believing that you have a say-so in the system. Well, this same system has been oppressing us for thousands of years. It began with the so-called white man during the time of the Greeks. Fortunately for us, we have the King James Version Bible with Apocrypha, which goes all the way back to that time. So, real quick, we'll go to this. Going to the book of Maccabees, chapter 1 and 1, and it reads, "And it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes," that would be your modern day Iranians, "that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece." So people know Alexander as Alexander the Great. The Great. We call him Alexander the Great. Anyway, this was the beginning of the so-called white man's wicked rulership on this earth. So real quick, I'm going to read you some of the things that they did to us. We are the Jews that the Bible speaks of. Now watch this. Says First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. I'm just going to scour through a few scriptures. All right, verse 1. Verse 41. "Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, just like you have America today. And everyone should leave his laws." Now, the Israelites are the only ones that have laws diverse from other people. So this is specifically targeted at us, just like it is to this day. Now, so verse 42, "And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath." This is the same thing that's happening today with our people in Christianity. These pastors telling us we don't have to keep God's commandments, but we have to keep the commandments of the so-called white man. These same Greeks, today they are your neighbors, the so-called white man. Now watch this. Verse 45. "And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days." The same things that you hear now, where pastors tell you you don't have to keep the Sabbath. You can worship God on any day you want. No, God gave us a specific day. And he gave us feast days that we're supposed to follow. They tell you in church, these pastors, that you no longer have to keep this either, where God told us to keep them. Now, verse 47, "Set up altars." Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me go to verse 46. "And pollute the sanctuary and the holy people." What y'all don't understand is, by polluting the holy people, us, our God will not fight for us. So this has been their motive all along. Satan is working through them to keep us from following our God. Now, watch. I'm going to jump down to 49. "To the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances." So now, to this very day, we're not keeping God's laws, but we're keeping their laws. And somehow you want to go and vote for this same system that has been oppressing you all this time. Whenever these people are ruling, we're under great oppression. great oppression. Verse 50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. So they were killing our people back at this time if you kept the commandments, if you had the Bible, if you agreed with the commandments, if you didn't eat pork, if you circumcised your children, they would kill you. The same thing happened in the 1400s and 1500s with the German, French, Spanish, and Portuguese inquisitions, where they did the exact same thing to us then. Whenever they come in power, they want you to stop keeping commandments, be a part of their system. I got a book right here, The Jews Among the Greeks and the Romans, where we participated in their systems back then. Even during the time of Christ, there was the question, should we pay tribute? And Christ said, give Caesar's things to Caesar and God's things to God. Our God told us not to vote, put someone over us that is not of our people. Our people would be Christ. He is our king. But let me continue. Now, I'm going to pick back up at verse 56. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 56. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law. This is the book of the law. They rent in pieces our Bibles, which they found. They burned them with fire. And wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. Same thing happened with King John in Portugal, and in Spain, it was Ferdinand and Isabella. They made the same decree to kill us if we did these following things. Verse 58. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now on the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God. Don't you think that's funny? On the 25th day of that month, they did this. The 25th, like so-called the birthday of Christ, when he was not born in that time of year. Now, verse 60, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that caused their children to be circumcised. Now, it's written in our law on the 8th day that all your males are supposed to be circumcised. So now they have put you against God's commandments, so that if you kept this, you would die. That's wicked as hell. But let me continue. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And they hanged the infants about their necks. Let that sink in. They hang these babies by the neck. And they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. So they would kill the woman, they would kill the child, and whoever circumcised the child, for trying to keep our commandments that God gave to us with the covenant he made with us, between us and him. But listen to this, because today there are not many people that are mighty like these brothers and sisters right here. Verse 62. Howbeit, many in Israel were resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing, because they will put you to death for that too. And also during the Inquisition, if you didn't eat pork, or if you didn't eat shrimp, or anything that's written in the law for you not to eat, if you didn't eat it, they would say, oh, he's a Judaizing Christian, and put you to death. Verse 63. Wherefore they chose rather to die that they might not defile with meats, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they may not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. So these brothers and sisters was willing to give their life than to forego the covenant that they made with the God of Israel. These people, these same people today are the Greeks. Because the Greeks, they were ruling, then the Romans ruled, and then they fused together, the Greco-Roman Empire. And then they came back as the Franks, France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, then England. These are the same people that was putting us to death back then. But watch this. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 8. Because for some reason, y'all want to vote. Let me show you something. This is nothing new. This same system has been around as long as these Greeks and Romans have been around. This is 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 8. 1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 15. Moreover, how they had made for themselves a Senate house. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's what y'all going and doing today, voting for people in the Senate and the presidency. Wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting always for the people, to the end that they might be well ordered. Today, this is huge. I'm sure it was a big thing back then. Verse 16. And that they committed their government to one man every year. That's why everybody's going nuts right now, trying to decide, should they vote for Satan or should they vote for the devil? Because Revelation 20 say they one and the same. And they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over all their country, and that all were obedient to that one. And there was neither envy nor emulation among them. So you're voting for the same system, for the same people that have been destroying your people for thousands of years. And oh yeah, by the way, they sold you into slavery too. Matter of fact, they did it back then, and then they did it in the 1400s. Going to the book of Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 41. And it says, and the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much, with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves. A power also of Syria and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them. So, like it's written in Ecclesiastes, the thing that have been is that which shall be. Y'all need to pay attention to history. Not just history that men have wrote, but also our history that's written in this Bible. So I'm going to give you one more verse. Some of y'all know what that is. Deuteronomy chapter 17. Can't believe how people just going crazy over this. Deuteronomy 17 and verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. Who did he choose? He chose Christ. Christ is our king. Let me continue. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. So we have a king already. Matter of fact, I'm sorry, I'm going to go to one more scripture. We have a king. That king was ordained to us from the beginning. So, let me show you. John, this is the book of John, and chapter 1, verse 49. Nathanael answered and said unto him, Rabbi, thou art the Son of God. Thou art the King of Israel. So, our king has already been elected. Don't get involved with this voting crap. It is not going to prosper us one way or another. The Most High is going to bring this kingdom down. Believe that. With that, I say shalom.